fishing for pike. I know absolutely nothing, so we thought this would be a great opportunity for Mark to run us through the very simple basic setup that we need to catch a few pike during these colder months, mate.
Yeah, so today we're using very simple running rigs. A light running ledger bead, very light lead weight, goes to a snap link with a trace. So wire trace is imperative when you're pike fishing, must use wire.
Does it matter the sort of pound of the trace? No,
I use between 15 and 25 depending on what size fish I'm expecting. And it should, that's sort of length you're looking at.
Do they all come as a standard sort of length, or are there different options?
I make my own. So I can make them on the bank, because sometimes they do get twisted up.
Sure.
Similar to monoline. The other thing to think about when you're doing this type of fishing as well is that the pike always take the dead bait from the head end. So the hooks should always face back towards the tail.
Sure, top tip.
So that's quite a good tip. And also treble hooks these days come semi-barbless. So what do I mean by that? 2 of the hooks are barbless. The third one has a barb on it. And that's known as the bait holder for obvious reasons, because that goes into your dead bait to hold that dead bait on.
Are you always putting the hooks into the back of the fish, not into the sides or the belly or anything?
Always to the back of the fish. It just lays better on the bottom, gives a better presentation. I find it gives a better hookup.
Sure. So I mean, as long as you're putting that single hook in one way into the back spine, then obviously the 2 are going to be umbrella above it.
And if the one reason you do it down the back as well is if you can get the bait holder into the root of the fin across the back, that's a very good strong point as well, especially if you're casting these quite long distance. I always try and use frozen or semi-frozen dead baits as well, because they do stay on the hook better, and they release all of those oils and bloods in the water where you want it, not on the bank or in your cool bag. So that's another good tip as well. So
that is the fish, the hooks, the trebles, the trace, then you say like a sliding bead, and just a normal flat pair sort of lead.
Anything quite light. It really is just to get the bait down and just hold it down near the bottom. That's why I use it. If you're fishing very, very close in, you don't need a lead on there at all. You can, but when these baits are frozen, they can drift a little bit. And what I find then is it can drift away from the spot that I want to fish.
So it can get caught up in the undertow and be kicked up, and your presentation be sort of you know, thrown out of place.
So by using a lead, it just gets that bait down under that tree where I want it, not a foot or 2 or maybe more depending on the tow away from the feature.
And I see obviously today you're using your carp stuff, but you're using like bite alarms, but you do have an indicator arm like for pike fishing.
So we have a drop back indicator, it's called, so you fish it with an open bail arm. We'll show you a close-up of that as well to see how we set that up.
Is that important?
So it is important with pike fishing and a lot of predator fishing I think as well, is it's all about the resistance. If the pike feels that something isn't quite right, it will drop the bait. So the reason I use big bore running rings and things is so that everything is as free running as it possibly can, no resistance. They used to say as well that you get a pike bite and you wait a little while before you strike. I always find that's just a recipe for disaster and can lead to deep hooking, which you really don't want. So I hit pike bites very early. Yes, I do miss a few, but like with the ones we've hooked today, they've all been pretty much hooked at the front of the mouth, so they're very easy to unhook, and it just keeps the fish safe as well. That's the main thing for me.
Well, like you said, I mean, we've had 2 bites today and 2 pike landed with very clean hook hold, so I mean, it's obviously working, and like you said, you've done it for a fair few amount of years, so I mean, if it works for you, then definitely stick with it. So, I mean, is there any, would you recommend like a pike glove for unhooking if you're a bit inexperienced? Forceps, I suppose, must?
Long-handled forceps are a must. Wire cutters are a must as well if you do get deep hooking, or if sometimes the hooks can get tangled in the net sometimes as well. So you can cut the hooks off, keep everything safe, especially that fish. That's the main thing. Keep that fish safe on the bank.
Recovery as well, you mentioned about the pike giving it all during the fight a lot of the time and sort of tire themselves out quite
very
quickly.
Similar to a barbel really. Pike, despite their ferocious nature or their, you know, what they're very delicate fish, and they can belly up. So it's very important when you put them back in the water to hold them, let them get the water back through their gills, let them recover, and they will tell you when they're ready to go. They'll swim off quite happy, but if you put a pike straight back, it will belly up.
It's about the recovery and just taking that extra time to make sure that that fish is ready to go back for releasing.
Because they're not the hardest fighting fish, but they fight in bursts, and that burst is like a sprinter, you know. They big effort, big effort. So they're pretty knackered when they come to the bank. So fish care is definitely a massive one for me.
Excellent. Well, I think that covers just about all you need to get out and give it a go. Like I said, this is my first time and thoroughly enjoying it. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a few more top tip videos coming soon.
We'll do some.
Get out and give it a go.
Yeah.